Greetings, everybody. Welcome to the September 2nd, 2015 edition of the Midweek Update here on Rasslin with Redbeard. It's been a rather depressing couple of days in regard to the world of professional wrestling news, so let's go ahead and get to it. But first, have some Xanax. Number 5 story of the week this week is that Jimmy Snuka has been charged with third-degree murder. These charges relate back to an incident back in 1983 that makes this a 30-plus-year-old case to when the woman he was dating at the time was found dead in the motel room after a set of WWF, at that point in time, TV tapings. This is a very old story in terms of something that's followed Snuka for the majority of his life and for his career. Snuka is a 72-year-old man now. He's battling stomach cancer, and apparently chances are that whatever comes of this will be what his lasting legacy winds up being. There have been multiple incident reports in regard to stories that Snuka himself has told in regard to the series of events that led up to her expiring. None of them have really measured up. I read one report here this morning that said that of all the various statements he's given, those including stories that he recounted in his own autobiography, that he's told 14 different versions of this particular story in regard to what happened to her and why she died, according to him. Chances are he's going to be in a lot of trouble regarding this. It's just a rather unfortunate set of situations or set of circumstances to where it's taken this long for it to be brought to justice. I have to wait and see what happens, but it definitely does not look good for the WWE Hall of Famer, Jimmy Snuka. And the number 4 story of the week is that Discovery Networks has begun pulling Impact Wrestling internationally. This is something that came down the wire a few days ago. It apparently is more news coinciding with the timetable that's been established here for a while in regard to an out clause that Discovery Networks had for which they could pull the plug on TNA and Impact Wrestling as a whole. The story goes so far that the countries that it's been removed from are Romania, Finland, a couple other Latin American countries as well. It's either been shifted around to different time slots or altogether taken off of the broadcast schedule for some of these countries. Fact remains that this is probably another signal of the beginning of the end for Impact Wrestling. Of course, Impact Wrestling and TNA, you have to look at them as two different entities because Impact Wrestling is the TV show, TNA Wrestling is the company itself. It's, I hate to say it, but it's one more thing that does not make me think that there's a whole lot of life left in this particular product. They are still moving forward with the live dates and the Bound for Glory pay-per-view, as far as I'm aware at this point in time. But there are no additional TV tapings scheduled. There are rumors that they may try and tape TV in India here at some point in time for international broadcast, but we'll have to wait and see. It's starting to get to the point where you just have to wonder how many more days, weeks, or whatever are they going to continue to say, okay, well, we're continuing on, we're going to keep this boat going, when in reality the boat is 9/10 of the way underwater. And the number 3 story of the week is that Zara Schreiber has been released by WWE. Zara, as you may be aware, was involved in a scandal earlier this year along with Seth Rollins when some rather racy photos began showing up on their social media accounts. It was apparently some things that she and Seth had been trading back and forth with each other. Of course, Seth at that point in time was not officially dating her, at least publicly anyway. He was associated with another woman who I believe he was engaged to, but they are no longer together. He and Zara had begun dating, and the interesting thing about this is that this also involved, the reason for her release anyway, involved some other photos that were on her Instagram account, her personal Instagram account. Apparently, Zara is, I wouldn't say a Nazi sympathizer, but she at least is intrigued by things like swastikas and My Little Pony unicorns that have been retrofitted to look like Hitler. I think the thing that really, above and beyond just the pictures being on her social media sites that got her canned, was her response to people who began bringing up the fact that this was out there and a part of her presence on social media. She was defending them as though it was not something that was a sensitive subject, as though it was something that could be dismissed, because of course the swastika has not always been associated with Nazism. It was part of various other cultures, but the stuff that she was posting definitely was part of a Nazi symbolism effort. But it's one of those things where you have to shake your head because just why make a dumb move like that? If you are going to be associated with any type of major company, you can't have that type of thing in your social media presence. Doesn't matter if it was from years ago or not. But here again, you've got something that, thanks to the super sleuths that are all taking up the internet these days, people will find this stuff if it's in your history, regardless of how good the job you do of scrubbing things. But regardless, she's gone from WWE, and people are wondering now if this will have any type of effect on Rollins. Personally, I don't think it will, because he wasn't the one who was sharing that stuff, it was her. And it just makes you scratch your head, like I mentioned there. But where she goes from here, it's anybody's idea. She had just debuted on NXT as Solomon Crow's kayfabe sister, so that kind of leaves him dead in the water there with a weird angle there to explain her way as well. But just have to see where it goes in terms of what's going to be next for her. Probably go back to some burlesque modeling and whatnot. I hear they're always hiring more suicide girls. Number 2 story of the week this week is that Bram of TNA Wrestling has been arrested and suspended indefinitely. This results from an incident over the weekend to where he apparently assaulted his girlfriend and attempted to keep her from leaving their residence. It was a bad scene overall. Bram, of course, if you followed his career at all, you'd be aware of the fact that this is not out of the realm of possibilities for him in terms of his prior behavior. He was a member of WWE's developmental roster for a while. Unfortunately, he saw fit to assault a police officer while he was intoxicated. That led to his dismissal from WWE, and I would say that this is probably going to lead to his dismissal from TNA. It's just that because of the way things are structured in that company as far as the creative end of things are going, they can't really say, okay, well, he's gone, because guess what? They've already got several weeks worth of TV produced where he's going to be involved in it, more than likely. Even so, bad scene for him. Some people are aware of this and some aren't, but he actually is going through a bit of a divorce with Charlotte, Ashley Flair, who of course is part of the WWE Divas revolution. I'd say that this is going to be a really tough thing for him to get past in terms of the future of his career, but you never know. He may wind up somewhere else, but I highly doubt it. When you've got 2 incidents like this under your belt, it's hard to say that he's going to be worth investing in. But just wish some of these guys would have a bit of a cooler head about themselves, especially when it comes to dealing with a significant other. That's just a bad scene there altogether. And finally, the number 1 story of the week this week is Hulk Hogan's apology via Good Morning America. Hulk was on Good Morning America, the August 31st edition of the program, and issued an apology on there. It was very much like the Paula Dean apology. A lot of people have been referencing that as sort of the prototype for what Hulk tried to do here. He went on in the piece and talked about how he was a product of his environment, and he more or less threw a town in Tampa where he grew up under the bus, saying, it was common to hear the N-word bantered about. We greeted each other with that word. And that town has not responded too kind to that, because the people there, who grew up around Terry Bollea, better known as Hulk Hogan, have said that was not a part of our culture. You got one versus the other there in terms of who's saying what, but regardless, I've seen some people who are critical of the apology as a whole, saying this is Hogan's best piece of work since gosh knows when in terms of putting on a show for folks. Be that as it may, he's attempting to get back in the good graces of anyone at this point in time. WWE saw fit to issue a response in regard to some questions that they were getting about reinstating Hogan. They have essentially stood by their previous decision to remove him from various parts of their history. It's crazy to think that this is going to be the standard for things going forward, to where anyone who has any type of checkered past is going to potentially have their career retconned from whatever they may have been involved in. It's still crazy to think that in this day and age that that's what we're looking at, but whether or not that's acceptable, that's for someone else to argue. Fact remains that Hulk still has a long way to go in terms of getting back in the good graces of a lot of people. Whether or not this has any lasting effect remains to be seen. For his sake, I think he just needs to shut up and go away for a while, because that's really the only thing that's going to fix this, is just have him disappear. But what won't be disappearing, at least what hopefully won't be disappearing anytime soon, is the local scene of indie wrestling in and around the Carolinas here. We're at the point in the program where we like to show off the posters of events that are going to be happening this coming weekend. We've got 7 shows coming up. This is a multi-weekend for PWX. They've got a series of shows that'll be happening. Actually got 3 dates lined up in Winston-Salem. They're going to be starting off this Friday and going through Sunday with the X16 tournament and also the Pure event that they've got leading into that. So let's go ahead and roll those posters and get you caught up on what's happening here in this part of the world. Alright folks, there you have it, our wrap up of the events that are coming your way this particular weekend. Like I said, you've got 7 events there to choose from, lots of opportunities to get out and about and enjoy the scene. If you're a professional wrestler, promoter, or involved with a promotion and you did not see your event listed in that particular rundown, it's because we didn't know about it. We do our best to peruse social media and keep abreast of what's happening in this part of the world, but we can't see everything. So that said, if you are involved in the scene and would like to have your material promoted herein, please let us know. Drop us a line here on YouTube, via the social media sites on Facebook or Twitter, or any other means that we have out there in terms of communicating with us. We'll be glad to share your stuff because that's what we're about here on Rasslin with Redbeard. We appreciate you guys tuning in. If you're enjoying the program, please feel free to click that like button. And if you're really enjoying what we've got here on the channel, go ahead and click subscribe. That lets us know that we're doing a good job of supplying the content that our fans are enjoying and that they want to see. Appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll see you next time.